Her heart thumped against her ribs as Brianna Caldwell watched her father's eyes glaze over, dismissing the dream she'd nurtured for years like it was nothing more than a child's whimsy. At the head of the wide oak table, Nathan Caldwell sat with an unwavering gaze, the epitome of authority and tradition. "You're backing Tyler again?" Brianna's voice trembled, though she fought to steady it as she swiveled her spoon around her mug, keeping her gaze locked on her father's face. His last ventures barely lasted a heartbeat. "Dad, I'm proposing something solid, something with real potential. Doesn't that deserve a moment of your attention?" Nathan sighed, folding his napkin with measured patience. "Brianna," he began, his tone level, "I admire your passion, but business is the backbone for men to build upon. Tyler needs this to find his path. You, on the other hand, have a stable job. That's where you should focus." The dismissal pierced deeper than Brianna cared to admit. Across the table, Tyler Caldwell glanced intermittently up from his phone, the dismissal rolling off him like water off a duck's back. He was used to the tacit approval that came with the mere mention of his latest failed idea. At 30, Brianna Caldwell had built a reputation in her mid-level finance job, a career rooted in logic and number crunching, where she consistently demonstrated a knack for managing budgets and spotting market gaps. Yet, none of these credentials seemed to matter to Nathan when it came to believing in her ability to forge her own business. Memories surged her father's legendary rise from nothing, establishing one of Riverside's most respected logistics firms. Brianna respected his work ethic, his grit. But despite sharing these attributes, Nathan's successor in his eyes wasn't his ambitious, insightful daughter. It was Tyler, whose half-hearted attempts unfailingly dissolved into the ether, supported time and again with Nathan's financial safety net. Brianna pushed back gently, her voice seeping with intense resolve. "Dad, Tyler's had his tries. I've spent months on this plan. It's viable, a low-risk, scalable consultancy aimed at empowering small businesses. You could see returns within a year." Nathan's features hardened with finality. "It's not the risk, Brianna. It's about providing opportunities. Tyler needs this chance." The dismissal burned with an unexpected sting. "And I don't," she shot back, no longer able to gulp down the bitter taste of unrecognized potential. "Why is his potential worth nurturing over mine? Is it simply because I was born a daughter, not a son?" Every breath in the room paused as Nathan cut through her protest with a decisive tone. "This discussion is over." Brianna stood, her hands shaky, knuckles white against the table's edge. Without another word, she turned and strode out, fists clenched with determination. Her father, she realized, was never going to view her as anything beyond her current standing. Later, under the muted glow of her apartment, Brianna thumbed through the meticulously crafted proposal that had been her beacon. The plan wasn't just paperwork. It was the embodiment of her hopes, a boutique consultancy delivering vital financial strategies to fledgling businesses. Despite the granite wall of her father's doubt, tears were not the refuge Brianna sought. Instead, she focused her simmering frustrations into a singular resolution as she opened her laptop. If Nathan Caldwell wouldn't believe in her, she would chart her own course with her skills, grit, and the modest savings she'd squirreled away. Morning arrived with a breath of clarity. Brianna dialed Sophia, her steadfast ally in entrepreneurial dreaming. "I'm going for it, Sophia," Brianna declared, feeling the tide of determination rise within her voice, strong and sure. "I'm going to make this happen." The evening air hung heavy with unspoken resolutions as Brianna Caldwell sat at her rickety dining table, her battle-hardened confidence seeking solace. "I'm really starting the business," she affirmed, her voice quivering like the string of a tensioned vow. On the other end of the phone, Sophia Lang, Brianna's stalwart best friend, exuded a warm, contagious enthusiasm even through the line. "Brianna, you're going to do amazing things," Sophia declared, her steadfast belief wrapping Brianna's tentative resolve in a comforting embrace. Brianna released a shaky laugh, a mosaic of determination and trepidation. "I hope so. I can't just let this be another one of his dismissals," she mused, the shadow of her father's doubt a persistent whisper in the back of her mind. Your father is clinging to views as outdated as his vinyl collection, Sophia asserted gently but firmly. This isn't just about proving him wrong, it's about proving yourself right. Emboldened by Sophia's unwavering support, Brianna set about transforming her dining nook into her command center. Her savings evaporated like morning dew, spent on business registration, a minimalistic website, and a budget laptop capable of juggling Excel and Dreams. The journey to find clients was a steep climb, more daunting than she could have fathomed. Brianna hustled, pecking out countless cold emails to potential partners, participating in online communities, and distributing self-designed flyers throughout Brookside's charming shopping district. Each polite brush-off, each unreturned call prickled her confidence, yet steadfast she remained. "Brianna, get a hold of yourself," Sophia pressed one evening, faith twinkling in her eyes as she surveyed the growing stacks of work. "It's a seed. Just give it time to root." Sophia had donned the cape of ally and co-creator without hesitation. As a talented graphic designer, she breathed life into Brianna's vision, gifting it a vibrant logo, a refreshed web aesthetic, and brochures that lent her venture the air of a seasoned outfit. "What would I do without you?" Brianna marveled as Sophia perfected a digital design, her fingers dancing deftly across the screen. "You'd do just fine," Sophia retorted, grinning. "But lucky for you, you don't have to find out." With Sophia's aid, Brianna shifted tactics, narrowing her focus to nurture her local community, little bookshops, cozy coffee houses, and struggling startups. Offering free consultations became her mark of goodwill, a longer game without instant gratification, yet one starting to bear fruit as one budding partnership rippled into others. Meanwhile, the judgment within her family simmered silently. Her father, Nathan Caldwell, had turned to stoic introspection since that fateful dinner, his silence as penetrating as any verbal critique. Brianna's mother, Elena, reached out with carefully veiled curiosity. "How's your little venture coming along, sweetheart?" Brianna's response was measured but resolute. "It's not a project, Mom. It's a business. And yes, it's going well." "Good, good," Elena replied with that classic motherly concern and a dash of unintended condescension. "You know, your father is quite occupied with Tyler's business. Maybe you could pick his brain." The mention of her brother Tyler's struggling startup made Brianna's pulse quicken. Propelled by the resources their father continued to pour into it, despite whispers among industry circles of its dwindling prospects, she grappled with a tide of frustration. One day, she stumbled across Tyler himself at a coffee shop 2 blocks from her apartment. Bent over his laptop, he appeared lost in a sea of frustrations. "Hey, Tyler," Brianna greeted softly, watching him startle like a deer in headlights. "Brianna," he stammered. "Didn't expect to see you here." "I'm just around the corner," she replied, nodding toward the nearby street. "How's the business?" His gaze flitted back to the screen as if it held the answers. "It's a lot. Just keeping all the moving parts in check." "Right," she murmured, sensing the weight he bore. As she left the shop, Brianna felt a sympathetic pang. He, too, waded through his own mire of expectations. Despite their differences, that familiarity tethered them, siblings adrift in the same familial ocean. As the city lights flickered to life, Brianna Caldwell sank into her couch, laptop aglow with numbers and charts. Her mind hummed with a fervent energy, determined to carve out her own success. Tonight, she decided, was for streamlining, analyzing every facet of Caldwell Consulting, optimizing expenses, and redefining goals that felt ambitious but attainable. Each milestone reached like the first recommendation from one client to another, or the first month covering her own rent, felt like silent applause from the universe, evidence of her undeniable capability even if her father remained oblivious. One particular evening, Brianna and her best friend Sophia Lang celebrated a significant win. Brianna had just secured a contract with a local bakery chain to manage their finances. "This is your turning point, Brianna," Sophia toasted, clinking her soda to Brianna's. Brianna laughed, her pride quietly growing. It wasn't just a job, it was momentum. But not everything was smooth sailing. A potentially lucrative client vanished without warning post-negotiation, and another chose an in-house solution over her services. These setbacks stung sharply, but Brianna's resolve remained unshaken. She leaned on Sophia's unwavering support, reminding herself of her personal mission statement. "This isn't just about proving my father wrong," she voiced during a late-night strategy session. "It's about validating the belief I have in myself." That conviction, Sophia pointed out with a knowing smile, is precisely why you're destined to succeed. A pivotal shift occurred 6 months into Brianna's venture when her bakery clients began singing her praises to their suppliers. Her inbox buzzed incessantly with new business inquiries. Before long, she was providing financial management for a cluster of small enterprises. Sophia joined her team part-time, handling branding and communications, propelling their growth into an exhilarating chapter for the company. On that high, Brianna took her workspace from a cramped dining area to a bustling co-working space downtown, floor-to-ceiling windows, allowing her to gaze at skyline horizons and reflect on her journey. "I built this," she reminded herself, each day a testament to her perseverance. Meanwhile, the creaks in Tyler Caldwell's startup, famously buoyed by family resources, turned into ruptures impossible to ignore. Whispers of chaos, missed deadlines, irritated investors swirled in industry circles. Elena Caldwell's calls became regular fixtures for Brianna, largely enveloped in concern over Tyler's strife. "He's under immense pressure. Your father's doing everything to help, but it's an uphill battle," she confided. The inevitable implosion arrived swiftly. Brianna was mid-meeting when her phone vibrated with urgent messages. Apparently, Tyler's enterprise was folding. Investors withdrew support, the operation a mess. By the time she returned home, her family's atmosphere was fraught with tension. Her mother's voice over the phone carried an edge of desperation. "Brianna, could you come for dinner? Dad needs to speak with you." Though tempted to escape the unfolding spectacle, Brianna felt a pull to show her father that while Tyler's venture crumbled, her own endeavor thrived. The family home exuded tight-lipped anxiety. Seated at dinner, Nathan Caldwell, her father, bore the weight of recent events. Across the table, Tyler slouched, engrossed in his phone, a symbol of disconnection. "Brianna," her father began, once she settled into her seat. "We need to talk." She steeled herself for a potential lecture on familial duty or the anticipated plea to rescue Tyler from his predicament when her father's words caught her off guard. "I've heard about what you're doing with your business," Nathan said, his voice measured. "You've built something remarkable." For a moment, words eluded Brianna. Those were the very sentiments she longed to hear. "Thank you," she managed, her tone steady. "It's been challenging, but every step feels worthwhile." Nathan nodded, casting a glance towards Tyler, whose attention remained on his screen, the future of familial comparisons etched into his lined expression. As Nathan Caldwell gazed across the table at his daughter, Brianna Caldwell, an unfamiliar vulnerability lined his usually stoic expression. "I thought I was supporting him, but in reality, I hindered both of you," he confessed, his voice reverberating with an unspoken regret. Brianna's heart raced as she processed the unexpected admission. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice laced with cautious curiosity. Nathan met her gaze, the weight of unrecognized years reflected in his eyes. "I underestimated you, Brianna. I thought Tyler needed my backing more than you did, but I was wrong. You've shown great strength." Across the room, Tyler Caldwell looked up for the first time, his face shadowed with frustration and shame. "Dad, this isn't about Brianna," he interjected defensively. "My company didn't collapse just because of me." "The investors enough, Tyler," Nathan cut him off, his tone a blend of firmness and care. "You aren't a failure, but the timing wasn't right." Brianna was ready. Silence enfolded them, palpable with the echo of revelation. As Brianna observed the shift in dynamics, sympathy stirred amidst her relief. She recognized Tyler's struggle, the desperation to affirm his worth. It was a path she had trodden herself, using the rejection as a springboard rather than a snare. Brianna, her father's voice softened, offering the recognition she'd once so desperately sought, I'm proud of you. I should have said so sooner. You're a testament to determination. Brianna had fantasized about this acknowledgement for years, a cinematic triumph following a grueling battle for validation. Yet, as Nathan's words washed over her, it was not victory, but tranquility that settled her spirit. "Thank you, Dad," she replied, her voice steady. "My goal was never to prove you wrong. It was to show myself what I could achieve. I hope now you see that too." Nathan nodded, an amalgam of regret and admiration crossing his features. "I do," he acknowledged simply. That evening, as Brianna left the familial glow of her childhood home, there was a profound sense of closure she hadn't anticipated. Her father's words hadn't erased the past doubts entirely, but they symbolized a new beginning, a fresh chapter. Surprisingly, she no longer craved external validation. Her journey had taught her to find it within. In the ensuing weeks, there was a surprising calm in the air. Nathan refrained from lamenting Tyler's failed venture, and slowly, the invisible distance between father and son began to diminish. Tyler, bearing his disappointment with determined resolve, began to seek Brianna's counsel, asking about her consulting firm with genuine interest, questions she never imagined he'd voice. Brianna, he initiated one evening, his uncertainty palpable even over the phone. "How do you maintain solid client relationships? What's your secret to keeping them loyal?" Brianna, caught off guard, had to study her phone. Was he seeking advice? Yes, Tyler admitted, a hint of humility threading his words. "You've clearly figured something out. I don't want to repeat my mistakes." Smiling at the irony yet moved by his sincerity, she responded, "It's about trust. Even with the best product, if clients don't trust you, it's all in vain. Show them their success is your priority." Tyler mused, sincerity painting his humility. "That makes sense. Thanks, Brianna." The call lingered with Brianna long after it ended. Tyler's humility hinted at a personal growth she hadn't anticipated. Meanwhile, her father's perspective shifted as well. Nathan started referring to her business with respect, asking genuine questions about her client strategy and future plans. He even offered to introduce her to some of his retired colleagues, although she decided to forge her path unaided, for now at least. His newfound support, though, meant more than she could express. One afternoon, Nathan visited her workspace, a modest stretch in a shared office, alive with creativity. Unlike the grandeur of his former corporate hub, it radiated the humility and vigor she embodied. He surveyed the room, genuine awe marking his features. "This is extraordinary," he said, taking in the busy hum. "I am truly proud of you, Brianna." "Thank you, Dad," Brianna replied, the warmth of his words reaching a deeply personal place she hadn't realized needed tending. The transformation she felt was profound. For years, her self-worth had been tethered to her father's approval, waiting for his acknowledgement of her capabilities. Now, the reflection of her accomplishments was a testament to her resilience and bold choices. She no longer needed outside affirmation. She recognized her own value in the culmination of her journey. When the horizon began to blush with the fading light of another day, Brianna Caldwell leaned back in her chair, peering out over the twinkling city beneath her window. It struck her how far she'd traveled on this unexpected journey, not just in miles, but in the currency of self-belief and resilience. Her family's old perceptions were gradually peeling away, revealing a new reality where she wasn't the misunderstood daughter or sister, but an independent force capable of steering her own course. Running her consultancy had taught Brianna that true business acumen was as much about adaptability and courage as it was about numbers. It was about tenacity and having faith in one's ability, especially when others don't. And she had succeeded. Half a year later, Brianna's business had expanded beyond the confines of her kitchen table. What began as a solo venture had blossomed into a dynamic consultancy, replete with a burgeoning client list and a dedicated team. She'd taken on 2 part-time employees to help bear the operational load, while her friend Sophia Lang officially joined as the creative director. Together, they were revolutionizing small businesses, crafting financial strategies one spreadsheet at a time. One of Brianna's proudest achievements arrived in the form of a spotlight feature in a well-regarded regional business magazine. Her firm was lauded as a grassroots success story, a testament to entrepreneurial innovation. The magazine article, once published, traveled swiftly to her parents' home. Her mother called immediately, her voice alight with excitement. "Brianna, this is amazing. Your father's already framed it for his office." The surreal imagery of her father proudly displaying her success struck her like a bolt of electricity. She had spent years yearning for this moment, for her father, Nathan Caldwell, to recognize her as competent and worthy of his esteem. But the recognition had come not through familial concession, but through her own indomitable drive. Family gatherings felt different now, infused with genuine curiosity about her career from her father, who posed thoughtful questions, truly engaging in her responses. Her brother, Tyler, seemed to be finding his groove as well, working in a marketing firm where his creative skills found fertile ground. "You're doing something extraordinary, Brianna," Tyler said one evening, a glimmer of admiration in his eyes as they tidied up after dinner. Brianna's heart lifted at his words. "Thank you, Tyler. That means a lot." He chuckled, a mischievous twinkle in his eyes. "Don't think for a second I won't swipe some ideas for my projects. Only with a consulting fee." Brianna retorted, their shared laughter cementing a newfound camaraderie. The most profound transformation, however, was internal. The path to building her business taught Brianna about more than just entrepreneurship. It ingrained within her the resilience and confidence to forge her own destiny. No longer did she feel the need to prove herself for a place at the table. Her seat was earned, and she belonged there as a matter of fact. Success didn't hinge on who got the first opportunity, but on who made those opportunities count. One afternoon, gazing out from her office onto the bustling street below, Nathan's voice echoed in her thoughts, not the skeptical tone from months before, but his more recent words filled with pride. "You've built something remarkable." At one time, Brianna may have measured her worth by his recognition. Now, she understood she defined herself. As she locked the door and headed home, a profound peace enveloped her. Her consultancy flourished, her family ties were mending, and she was living an authentic, self-directed life. The road was challenging, but it molded her into the leader she was becoming. This was not merely an ending, it was the rebirth of her journey, a canvas for endless possibility. Her future lay open before her, and she anticipated every step.